and you're going to see it. Please keep your phones ready and ask questions throughout the evening, and we're going to address them with the panel. And also, technical issues. Of course, it's a tech leadership masterclass, and we're having technical issues. Can you all hear me right here? Online, can they hear me? Awesome. Great. So do I have to repeat everything or just say hi, everyone? I hope you can hear me. I'm usually very loud. And yes, so we're gonna have Slido as a tool for questions. If you want to just ask a question directly when we have our Q&A, please do so. And my colleague's gonna come in with a mic. But also we might have some questions for you in Slido, so just keep an eye on it. But now let's move back to like the reason we are here today. We have 4 great guest speakers that are here tonight. They're going to share their own leadership journey and some learnings with us. So let me shortly introduce them and welcome them. Aniela Crisan, VP of Engineering at OLX. She transforms how tech teams deliver real business impact. Her approach to scaling engineering organizations balances innovation, speed with operational excellence, creating solutions that drive business growth. As a passionate advocate for women in technology, Aniela creates opportunities and advocates for women both in our company but also by partnering with NGOs. So to try and build pathways for diverse talent that thrive in tech. Welcome, Aniela. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
And then Gianluca Rosagna. He's a human resources expert with over 15 years of experience leading recruitment teams in different tech companies, where he helped scale technology teams exponentially. He is currently the founder of Lyft, who provides strategic support to several companies. He's an established author, speaker, as well as a professor. Oh my gosh. As creator of the Project Gaia, which we love, method, he combines technology, AI, and gamification to revolutionize recruitment. He's also a personal brand mentor where he empowers recruiters and professionals to reach their full potential. Welcome, Gianluca. So happy to have you here.
Thank you. Likewise.
And next, Giuseppe Ciotta, VP of Engineering at OLX. Giuseppe leads the generative AI platforms and data engineering teams at OLX. Before joining OLX, he held a variety of engineering leadership roles in both high-growth startups but also in established technology companies. And Giuseppe is based here in Barcelona.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
And last but not least, Yanis Dempekakis. Welcome. He's a very familiar face for us because he used to work for OLX. But now he's a director of AI at Process Group. He's passionate about leading teams at the intersection of technology, data, and product innovation to achieve and deliver sustainable results. His work involves leading cross-functional teams, and he has a strong interest in diving into technical AI solutions. Currently, he leads Token.ai and AI-first disruption projects across the portfolio. Welcome, Yanis.
Thank you.
Lovely to have you here. So, before we kick off the conversation with our leaders, let's give the slide a try, okay? Next, please. We're going to ask you all just a simple question. And we want to just ask you, how long have you been working in people management? And if you're not, and you are interested in just starting the journey or have no experience, we have an option for you as well. Can we launch the poll? Of course. But now I can see the TV, actually. Thank you, son. So yes, how long have you been working in a people management role? We just want to get to know our audience a little bit better, but it's a very easy question. Well, Gianluca, we know you've been 15 years.
No,
We don't even have an option for you there.
no, but that's,
Oh, 10 plus, you do.
people management, though.
Okay. We have a bit of a diverse team here, audience. We have aspiring leaders or new to the journey. We have leaders with over 10 years experience, then 2 to 5 years, and then 5 to 10 years. Okay. I think we got it. Okay. So thank you so much. So the Slido is going to be there. As I said, if a question comes up when we kick off the conversation, please do enter. We're going to make sure to address all the questions throughout the session. Great. So now I'm ready. I'm very excited to start the conversations with you all. I would love to start by exploring a little bit of your leadership journey and some of the skills that drive impact nowadays. This first question I really want to hear from all of you, and I'm going to start maybe with Yanis, just because you're closer. Can you share what qualities do you think are most important for a leader today?
So first of all, thank you for being here. It's nice that with this sun you bear it, and you're staying with us. Well, you almost said it before, but you said it's hard word to say. So it's true. Being able to adapt, I think it's one of the most important skill. What we call in process is ambidexterity, the opportunity to be able to, on the one hand, try new things, being able to experiment, don't be afraid to take risks, being able to fail fast, but then at the same time do this in a way where there is some structure and some process. So through this process and structure you can learn and you can get better over time. I think that's one of the most important skills for everyone. And if you're a leader, I would say that leadership is always about the others. So it's about the people that you help, that we all together go somewhere and we make something beautiful happen. So I would say what you need is also you need to be able to connect with others, you need to be able to communicate, support, help, and guide. And if it's something that it's not, that you feel like you are not the expert on this, because as we are growing, we are becoming much more detached from the day-to-day hands-on work, then you still need to be able to support these people by introducing someone else, right? So it doesn't have to be that you yourself. I think the mean here is what is important, which is to support and let others grow, and then you grow together.
Love it. Sponsor more. Sponsor more. Aniela?
Yeah, for me, leadership, it's a lot about inspiring. So giving a purpose, giving a vision, giving something that it's very ambitious and is very aspirational, that can inspire us to do things. And then this is not enough, of course. Also, like the leaders, they will need to adapt and need to adapt to every type of situation, every type of people and teams that they have around them, and need to be able to support, delegate. So they need to be very, very flexible in the approaches, because as Yanis was also saying, leadership, it's also about empowering the others. So giving a purpose, but then also helping the people to go towards that purpose.
Love it. Thank you. Giuseppe.
Yeah, I mean, very much aligned with what you're saying about providing a mission that's inspiring for people, for teams. Many people call this intrinsic motivation, which is maybe a bit of a mouthful to say that, especially in tech, people need to feel inspired about what they do. They have to feel a purpose for what they do. The old kind of carrot and stick approach really does not work at all. And so this is, I think, a very important skill to have as a leader, to be able to inspire people and to create this kind of magic, intrinsic motivation that's really key to create high level and high quality outputs. Yeah.
Amazing, yes. And it always evolves, right? We're learning every day. So, Gianluca,
I
please.
couldn't agree more with all these amazing facts about being a leader. I'm very happy to be learning from all of you, and of course sharing my side through the talent and human-centric side that I have had the opportunity to do. I will add to all of what they said, because they are completely right. It's emotional intelligence, being self-aware. There are diverse types of leadership that we can apply, and we can learn too as well. Because, for example, I am more of a servant leader, But one of the errors that I had in the past was that I was too permissive, for example. So I needed to set up boundaries. So self-awareness, emotional intelligence, of course, vision and infinite vision. I will talk about the Infinite Game book of Simon Sinek, very good about that. Communication, but towards the storytelling. It's very important that we're able to tell stories through data and many other things that we have to convey what we need. And I will say this, and tech savviness, of course, right now that we have all of that.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah, brilliant. Yes, so you said story, but we are going through your stories. And just want to share a bit, like if you can share a bit of your own lived experience, like what skills have been the most important in shaping your journey as a leader? If you can share a few, like Aniela, can we start with you?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things that I value is changing the world for the best. And that means that I'm not very comfortable with the status quo. So if I see that there is something that can be improved, I will go and improve it. And I think this really helped me because I saw like bad things or like as opportunities to improve. And by taking ownership and also being accountable for the results, I was able also to demonstrate to the people around me that I can take things. And the other part that I really, really like is to learn and to grow. But that means that I get bored very, very quickly. So that also makes me like grow the people around me because while the people around me are growing, that I have time to do something else and to focus on new things. So this part of transformation and challenging the status quo, those were like, I don't know, maybe the two main things that helped me to grow in my career overall.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yanis?
Yeah. So
skills that have shaped your journey?
Yes, in terms of experience, I would say. So, what are the main things that, if you live day to day, you can't really understand what are the things that they are shaping you. So you need to go one step back and then check, right? So these are for me let's say the checkpoints. One is I had a little bit of a different kind of contrasts in my life. So I've been in different countries, I've done different kind of studies, I've done research, but I've also did some business, I've done some engineering. It doesn't mean that I have finished everything, by the way. So that was never my goal. I've also worked in startups, but also big corporates. I think that helped me a lot, especially the experience of building something from nothing. Because I was part from the beginning in a startup where I had to go and literally go to IKEA and buy chairs, and then you have to think, okay, the urgency. I think that's the important part for me. I would say is that being into many different situations, you're building this kind of urgency that we don't have time to lose, and we need to be the best every day, and to keep the bar high. That's what I think is the important part for me.
Great, thank you so much. Giuseppe, you want to add something? Your skills that really shaped your journey?
I mean, maybe a couple things. Especially if we talk about engineering and technical roles, the ability to really understand the business at a deep level, and being able to speak the language of whether it's sales, whether it's customer success, and all these departments, it has made a difference for me. Being able to really interact meaningfully with all teammates has made it somehow easier for me to progress. But also like staying technical for as long as possible, and also speak the language of the engineer. I think that's also important. So in a way, being the bridge between these two worlds, but also nudging both worlds to go toward the other. Like we don't want to be, in between things, but we want things to get closer. Yeah.
Great, lovely perspective. Gianluca.
We finished with me now.
We're like, we went technical, now we want to hear from you.
It was good. From my side, I will say again, setting boundaries, this was something very personal. I will not delve into that too much, but another thing that I will add is adapting your communication to different stakeholders. Again, we have people that like to talk straight and go straight to the point, and there are others that love stories, right? and sometimes we cannot read the room instantly, or it takes time. So it's very important that we learn how to read the room wherever we are in order to convey the best storytelling for what we want to do. And another thing is, from the HR side, of course, being able to translate business strategy into culture, and through culture values. Something that I really like about Simon Sinek, and again the book of The Infinite Game, is that you want to have a vision of the company, a purpose, a vision that that transcends generations. That means that if the company survives 20, 30 years from now, the same vision can be applied to it, and that will give the teams the opportunity to go towards the same goal.
Love it. Thank you so much. Great. So this is you are all leaders here, but like we're going to speak maybe also generally, like how can leaders effectively build influence, inspire beyond their immediate teams? This is a very, like we really are curious about this one because I think it's a good one. Yanis, you want to start?
As part of Prosus, it's actually that we have to do a lot. So just a little bit of context. Prosus is investor and operator of different companies. One of these companies is OLX. So we are a technical AI first team, and we are trying to partner with different type of organizations that belong in our portfolio to help them accelerate. So I need to do that a lot. I guess the first thing to understand is, okay, you need to come with a picture, right? So you need to be able to picture to be able to explain and articulate where do you want to go and to be able to picture it. That's the first thing. Second, you need to explain to the other person what is going to happen if we don't go to that path, right? So, and try to understand, try to get into his shoes, because there are also very, very good reasons why if you try to influence some other teams or if you try to drive some other teams, they have very good reasons why they don't want to go that path. So it's also very important to be able to understand that deep and get into their shoes, as we say. And then the third one is, in the end, you need to be the change, right? So you need to be there and try to drive and then push it and you know, try to take the risk yourself so that others see that you take the risk and then they can follow.
Gianluca, you want to add something on this one?
I will add, of course, to this wonderful speech now. Again, it has to be related to the vision and culture, because, again, if everyone is going towards the same goal, it's easier to convey. Something that helped me in my career is having an impact on the industry, not just on what you're doing already inside the company, towards your work, building trust through showing up and being there for your team with everything that was aforementioned before. The other thing is having an impact on the industry, okay, helping others, giving value to your industry, so as well things can expand in a type of way. So I will say this, plus the vision, of course.
The vision. Love it. Giuseppe, you want to add? Is something?
Yeah. So I think it's, for instance, one thing that I tend to do is to go out and there's the company vision, but it's also like there's maybe your team's vision or your department vision, right? And I think it is important to share it as much as possible. So find places where you can talk about what is that you're aiming for, where your values, your vision, and also aim for others to understand them and potentially share theirs as well, and find that common ground that then allows you to being able to influence them and also be influenced. Like, I don't think this is a one-way thing. There's very little that can be done in a big company if you work alone. So this goes both ways. So yeah.
Very important. Yes, it's always a two-way. Agnila, you want to add something?
No, I think that in tech, we are never alone. So somebody was asking me at one point, which one is my team? I was like, is it my direct team? Is it my peers? Is it my business team? Like, I don't know. I have like so many teams that I don't know. So that's why, like, I don't know what to do. Like, we really, really need to be able to influence all the others, because most of the work that we are doing is not by leading by the direct team, but it's like leading by influencing all the others around us. So it's like by speaking the same language, by sharing the vision, by sharing the goals, by figuring out their problems and try to solve for them. Like all of this will contribute. But basically, that's the part. Like,
Love the approach. Yeah. We are one team, right?
exactly one thing.
Lovely. Thank you so much for sharing. Very like now we're gonna go back. Can we launch a poll for the audience? Because we really want to also wanna connect with you. We have a question for you that we're gonna give you some time to think, and meanwhile I'm gonna continue the conversation with the leader. It's like, what's for you the hardest leadership skill to master?
Can I also add something?
Yes. You want to add something to
not to the skills, but to the previous answers.
Oh, sure. Love it.
Because I feel like that I don't want to get the impression that we are trying to make it look too good. Just to be clear, it's not easy, right?
Yes.
So it really drains you down. You can't do it every day, all the time, right? So you need also to feel like that the whole organization helps you to get there, right? Through processes, KPIs, alignment. Because if it doesn't, then you can't just go against the current forever, right? So I just want to be clear. If you feel like your life is not like that, that's perfectly normal. And we are one team, but each one of us have their own also KPIs and OKRs and objectives. And then this is the art a little bit of negotiating and seeing which one of the KPIs is more important. And if you do X, what's going to happen versus if you do Y, right? So sometimes you have to go back to the data.
Yeah, I love that perspective. Of course, we are not here to make it sound all magical and fluffy. There is what you do is difficult, and it's not going to get any easier anytime soon, right? Okay. Then in the meantime, we have a lot of people sharing there. I see feedback is because this is a work. It means that a lot of people think feedback is one of the. What do you think? Do you also share the same? Delegation is also one. Trust, very very important. I guess building trust is it's not easy. You have to work negotiation, as we were talking. Yanis, you just mentioned it, and it's coming up there. Vision, comms. Okay, of course, the word I cannot say, adaptability, emotional intelligence. Thank you so much for sharing. Very great perspective. And I think we touched a little bit in all of this, right? So that's why we are having this conversation today. Awesome. So now we talked a bit about what we're thinking about, that a successful leader is, or impactful leader is nowadays. So another topic I wanted to touch with you all is because, like, in the last 5 years, let's say, we're living in constant change. Like, everything looks like it's drastically changing every minute, right? It feels like we're living in the most uncertain of times, be it a pandemic, be it geopolitical situation, be it hyper growth for certain companies, and then restructuring, right? So I just want to like go with you and touch a bit about how it is to like lead. You need to build resilient teams more than ever now, right? So what I wanted to ask you all, if you can share maybe a personal lesson or an experience that from leading through this uncertainty. Aniela?
Yeah, I'm at OLX for many years, and it looks like I've been to, I know, through 20 different companies, because the company changed a lot during this time, because that's the only way that we can be ahead of and we can build the right products. So I've been lucky. I think that I'm lucky because I'm in a place that embrace changes, and I'm also like, I'm adaptive to change. So for me, I can change, I can adapt. For me, it's very, very easy. I know, like, there is like something else. I know where I need to go, and then I will go. And for me, one of the part that was, I know maybe it's more challenging, it's to slow down during these changes. So I remember, I know one time we had to go through like a major restructuring with the team. I knew about it, of course, because I'm part of the leadership team, so I had time to digest. I was already like making plans, but then I had to step back, and I was like, what do I do now? So I talked to a communication coach because it was very, very important at that time to make the communication very, very right for the team. And she coached me on how to approach this situation. And what I did was I went back to my team, I explained the situation with all the facts and all the reality, and I had to be like very, very true on what I know, what I don't know, what can be shared, what cannot be shared. And just stay there and sympathize with what they're going through. And after this process passed, or they completed this process, I was able then to go back and tell them like what is the future and how they can contribute to build that future together. But with all the changes, like we cannot expect things to happen like this. It's a very, very complicated part, and we always need to be like very, very aware of where is everybody, because somebody can go back into that fear of change, and we need to recuperate them, because otherwise we can lose people along the way. But the most important is like we need to be like very, very true because people will sense if we are not authentic. And then we need to let them digest and then take them forward with us.
Maintain that trust that is so important, right?
Yeah, we need to keep the trust during this change. Otherwise, we are useless.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Giuseppe?
I'm thinking about an interesting story in 2020, which many of you will remember as a pretty interesting year. Back then I was working for a large event ticketing company. It's a publicly listed company that had thousands of employees, and this company lost essentially during COVID 70% of the revenue that year. And that created, as you can imagine, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of questions. What will happen with my job, with the company, with my team? What worked for me were two things. First of all, being as open and communicative as possible. So freeing my agenda for the team, being there for the team, doing weekly town halls and all hands, and going and talk to the teams and explain what the situation was, and any news that was getting was instantly trying to communicate it to the team. Essentially, being communicate as opposed to kind of retract back, which is something that I've seen like in the past sometimes, and it's definitely not helping, right? So that's one thing. The other thing is being as transparent as possible. So explain the why of certain decisions, which is not always possible because sometimes there are implications, and it could be like labor law, it could be like many things. But I think in even those situations, it is important to say, hey, look, I can't say this to you now, and the reason is this. It's not because I don't want to. It's because I cannot, right? And I'm legally bound for whatever reason, and I can't do that. But explaining the why, certain things can be said, and other things cannot. I think it is crucial, because people, like, the questions will be there, and people will come up with their own answers. So it is better if you can answer all these questions as much as possible, because the answers will be there. Like they will come up with them. So it's better for the company if you can somehow contribute to those much more.
Yeah, great. Yes, that's great. Great perspective. Yanis, you want to add something?
I couldn't agree more. There's no, but for real. And I was also part of one of these OLX transformations, right? So
one of the companies.
yes. So that was quite interesting times, more than once. But there is one thing which is also important to understand. Maybe that's something that because I've also been in different kind of sectors, right? So time and change is sector relative, right? So if you're working in a tech company, it is expected to change and adapt because technology changes very fast. Things are moving very fast. They are not all the companies like that. They are much more mature companies, that they have much more mature revenue departments that you can stick to it for far long. So it's also a way, during these times you can also do a little bit on the emotional intelligence thing, and think yourself, is change something that completely stress me out, and I can't operate at all, it freaks me out, so maybe a fast-paced environment is not the best environment for you. No matter how much we can support you, some people have different priorities, right? And on the other side is, do I want to be in a company where I know that anytime any startup can actually drive us to the ground, right? That's the reality, and that's also the mindset that you want to have, that you are willing to change, you are open to change, and we are building AI, and AI means change, right? So the whole that we are operating is going to change completely the way.
Yeah, but even like not being a leader, but just being in tech, like you are writing code that in 2 weeks it's obsolete. So if you are not willing to accept that, it's going to be very, very, very hard.
It changes in the DNA of what we're doing, like in the tech companies, right? So we better start getting a bit more comfortable with that, especially with all the technological innovations and breakthroughs right now. Great, thank you so much. Gianluca, you can add a personal
I will add a little bit of a story.
Experience leading in a certain, we all been there.
Yeah, that's interesting actually. That I have been also in a very similar situation to all of you in that sense. It was a blockchain company, 2022 after the bull market, hyper salaries, hyper growth, leading a big team, wanting to hire more than 500 people in a year. 6 locations, first 6 months amazing, and after that a 40% company-wide layoff. Almost, I had to lay off in my team 16 people in one go. It was super difficult, and the remaining people had trust issues, not just with me, but it was more with the company, right? And what two things that Giuseppe said. I learned there that, of course, over communication, trying to answer, as you said already, the vast or majority of the questions you can have reduces anxiety. As human beings, if we have more information, we reduce anxiety and we try to cope with it. And it was just shared now as well. The idea is to try to cope with it together. But something that I learned as well, as Giuseppe said, is that we have the culture, but also we have microcultures, micro ecosystems in our teams, and people can trust you even if they don't trust the company. And that's super powerful if you're a leader that is there to protect your team in these times of uncertainty when, sorry the word, but everyone thinks that tomorrow you could be laid off and you could be fucked. Then you want to be there for your team and over-communicate a lot.
Yes, lovely. The macro, really important, like to think about your own team and microculture and do the best, right, that you can. Thank you so much. That was lovely. So we went a bit of the journey that shaped you, the lessons. Now we're going to try and think of the future. I know we don't have a crystal ball. We cannot be 100%. We just want to just touch the topic and see. Oh, but we have actually a question before we go to the future. Let's stay in the present a little bit more, because we have a question for Agnella. It's like Agnella mentioned reaching out to a work coach for help in dealing with difficult situations. What are other ways to seek support during stressful times? You want to elaborate, or all of you, any of you?
Yeah, I can. So there are like many ways. So one of the things that I remember myself to do, especially during this stressful time, and to be well with myself. So I'm in good health. I know I get enough rest, so I have like enough energy, so I manage my my energy, so then I can go through these stressful times. But when I need to have ideas, I think that one of the things that it really helps me is to talk to different people. And that's why I like to connect not only with people in my company, because they have like a similar, maybe like a similar experience with what I do, but I also like to connect with people outside of my company, so then I can have like fresh perspective. So sometimes it's a coach, sometimes it's a peer, sometimes it's a friend, sometimes it's just like another person that goes through the same thing that you do. So I try to be part of different communities. Some of them are local, some of them are online. Anything that I can see that I can belong, and then I can share these experiences. Sometimes I help others, sometimes they help me. That's the good part of the community.
The two ways that just
Group therapy works amazingly well, right? So you just talk to folks that they've been affected one way or another, and then you feel like, or different companies, doesn't matter, but you feel, okay, all right, we'll all go through this. And I really like the, and that was also the advice that I was trying to give to my teams. Take time for yourself to get some rest, get some sleep, right? So this is the moment that you want to do the basic as good as you can. Because with a good sleep, the next day looks much more bright. That's very important.
Yeah, be kind to yourself. We always forget that, like, and also like we preach it, but we are so bad at that, putting it into.
I will add something that I learned last year. Actually, it was through Tony Robbins and another coach called Lorin Kren. Basically, of course, meditating every day for me is super difficult because I have ADHD. So you imagine how I am. My brain is. But I learned how to do it. So of course that teaches you to be more calm, more present. Through that, I learned about the archetypes of Carl Jung. So he used to say that women and men have 4 archetypes: the warrior, the king, the magician, and the lover. And when we connect with those, it's super interesting because when you connect with those, you can solve problems with 4 different types of perspectives when you are in a difficult situation. So it's very interesting to actually widen your thought process and not just having the strategic mindset or the warrior mindset or the in-the-moment mindset, etc.
Lovely, thank you so much. That was Grazina. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, but I hope we answered your question. Please keep the question coming. We will, like, I can still see there because the sun, now I can see there because the sun is gone. Thank you, sun. And great, let's move to the future, as I said. We're like, we want to just explore a little bit about the future of leadership in tech as much, and we won't have all the answers, but I'm very interested in what you think. And what skills will matter most? You know, we had a poll before that, we talked about skills now, but what about the future? So I want to ask you, the panel, if you were to hire a leader today, of course you are responsible for staffing your teams, what skills would you especially focus on to make sure they're future ready? Angela.
There are like a set of competencies that I usually like to look at people, and I think that those are like get us, present ready, future ready. So one of the things is autonomy, because we need people to be able also to think by themselves and to be able to to also work independently or to think with their own mind. Other thing, it's auto-discipline, because it's very difficult to motivate somebody that doesn't want to be motivated. So people will need to have some kind of discipline, and that's very important. The other one, it's entrepreneurial mindset, because as in everything, we need to think about, take risk, go a bit beyond what is normal. And the fourth one is design thinking. And design thinking, because we don't use it only in product development, but we can also use it in the day-to-day life. So finding some data points, creating hypotheses, experimenting, learning fast, and trying something else very quickly. So those for me are the 4 main things that I'm looking. But as a funny story, I was talking to CTO from a company from the US that is part of one of my communities, and she told me that usually when she hires engineering leaders, she looks at 2 things. So one, if that person speaks different languages, because like this she can understand that has the mental flexibility to adapt. And the second one is that person can play some instruments, because it means that they are creative. So this is how she was filtering out candidates for her team. I think that everybody has some kind of way to find like who has that kind of creativity and flexibility, because right now, just with knowledge, we know that we are doomed. AI knows way more than us. Data is very, very vast. It can be processed very, very quickly. So if you only think about knowledge, it's not going to get us very far.
Wow, great one. Yanis, you want to add?
To the point of, no, I think intelligence as a unit gets cheaper every day. It's crazy. So if I could think that I would hire someone based on intelligence, now there's no way that you can do that these days. Just two thoughts on exactly what you said, but to build on top of it. For me, grit is very important. Perseverance, right? So these are things that they are, I think, in anything that you want to do, being able to failing and standing up and keep on trying and giving everything that you have. So the hard thing is that how you can actually assess this within an hour or 2 hours. That's I think the hardest part, but that's what I try to distill. That's the first thing. And the second, on top of what you've mentioned, which are getting already a lot, is the ability to ask questions. Because if you are, which is also touch a little bit on the design thinking, but if answers are getting cheaper and cheaper over time, the people that they can ask the best questions are those that they will help us the most.
Oh, nice one. Nice switch of perspective there. Very important. That shift here. Gianluca, you want to add something?
On top of that, and very similar to what just shared, I believe, again, technology, it's in a way killing critical thinking and creativity. We need to be bored, actually, to be creative. And now AI is answering everything for us, from work to dating apps to social interactions to emails to everything that we're doing. So for me, to be future-proof and future-ready, it's important that we are capable of measuring critical thinking, creativity, and of course, empathy and emotional intelligence to be able to guide new teams into don't fall into that, right? And as he said just now, ask the right questions and avoid this.
Oh, great, amazing. Giuseppe, you want to add?
Yeah, maybe I'll just to conclude with something simple. It's being curious. I think both Ioannis and Daniela touched upon it. Whether it's curious about new technologies or projects, people, asking the right questions. I think this is really important, and it is part of being adaptable for the future. Now, innovation comes in waves, and waves are becoming shorter and shorter. Now, 200 years ago, we had technologies that lasted for 50 years or something, and now new innovation waves are coming in more frequently. And so being able to be curious about all these things and asking the right questions and learn about them, to me, it's really important. Yeah.
Amazing. We heard it here, folks. Thank you so much. It was actually I was a bit shocked because I'm an HR person, right? I'm not tech savvy, so I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to brush on all my skills, use more token, right?
Yes.
we
Good answer.
We touched upon. We said that when we're talking about getting future ready, with whether it's your team or who you want to hire, but even yourself, right? So we talk about AI now. So let's go a bit deeper in that. We are in our Gen AI hub also. So how are AI and automation changing leadership roles? Not just the jobs itself or the perfect candidate. Now we're thinking about you as a leader and how is AI and automation changing it. I will start with you, Director of AI. And then I'll go to Giuseppe, right. VP for AI platform.
That's a super hard question. Data. It's one of these that you should have studied before, which I didn't do. No, but no.
We like to put you on the spot. You're gonna be fine.
There are things that they are, so I want to start with the things that they are not changing, because I think that's also very important, right? So what are the things that they are not changing is, in essence, Gen AI is a technology that how do we see it at the internal productivity perspective and not in the from the customer perspective, not from generating new products, but from changing the way that you are operating. We expect everyone to be using it every day, right? So that's the thing that, but that's with every technology, right? That's why I'm saying that this is not something that has changed, right? So that's there's a new tool, you expect everyone to follow the best standards, the best practices. That doesn't change, and we do see that, and there are actually research about that teams with Gen AI are outperforming teams without Gen AI, right? And individuals with Gen AI underperform teams, right? So the risk there, and one thing that you should manage, is that when intelligence becomes abundant, that people still communicate, interact, and working together. That's the first thing. Second, so we need as a leaders to be able to facilitate this kind of interactions. Ideally, you don't want to be your best colleague, a Gen AI bot. It needs to be a team member. So the first name of Tokan was +1, but then we had a negative connotation with a toys company in US, so we had to change it, and then we end up being with Tokan. So the idea is that it's a plus member in the team, right? So it's not your best colleague. So the risk for us is to manage the day-to-day communication and make sure that ideas surface. A, B. In terms of automation, I'm trying to force the teams not to automate existing flows, because I think that existing flows, they have been optimized based on previous tools, and it's not making lots of sense to try to take your car and put it on the railway, right? So that's the idea that I'm trying to explain to them. So what I want them to do and what I'm trying to motivate them is to generate new workflows. And as a matter of fact, we have asked everyone in the team, in the next 6 weeks, we have made a wall, and we have given them stickers, whatever, doesn't matter, right? And we have asked by the end of 6 weeks, everyone should have been able to put 2 agents that they have created, doing something new or something that they hate doing in the wall, and then put the name behind so that we can learn from each other. Because it's a horizontal technology. It's a bit long answer, but it's also a very wide question. So it's all right. It's a horizontal technology, and it's impossible for one team. And my team is responsible for process, pushing Gen AI, and we are still learning so many things from all the other people, from all the other departments. So it's impossible to learn what a horizontal technology can do by yourself. So you need to be able to force everyone to share. So that, I think, is very important. When a new technology comes, opening up the communication channel so that everybody learns from everyone as fast as possible is our role, one of our roles as a leader. Now, how leadership changes?
If your leadership role has changed now with AI or automation, or you feel...
It's just harder. It doesn't change, it's just harder. I don't think so. It has changed. It's just becoming much more demanding because the time of new technologies closing, so you need to push a little bit harder for adoption of new skills. And there's even tech people, they have inertia. They still say, oh, Cursor doesn't produce the quality of code that I want. But there's some bias and there's some truth. So you need to force them a little bit to adopt it, knowing that in a year it's going to be better, right? So maybe it's not today, but in a year it's going to be better.
Oh, thank you. Giuseppe, I would be amiss not asking you this question.
So I see, I agree with Ioannis that the fundamentals that don't really change, but there are new responsibilities as a leader that you need to take care of. And one of them, Ioannis was touching upon it, was adoption, right? So you need to make sure that the organization is ready to do certain things. So it's about enablement. It's about having the right conversations. It's about inspiring teams. It's about nudging them sometimes. It's about finding the budget for certain things, and all these things we need to do, right? and it's not only about creating new products, but also about improving efficiency internally. So there's a lot of stakeholders that you need to talk with to make this happen, and it's not obvious. And as Johnny was saying, sometimes the real improvement will be a few months down the line, but you want to start preparing the company for it, right? That's one thing. And the other thing is, so AI is not something new, and we had AI for a long time in various shapes or forms. For instance, I was working previously in fintech, and fintech had relied on, banks in general had relied on AI for credit scoring for a long time. And there's a lot of work that goes into AI explainability, AI safety, bias in AI. So all these things are definitely not things that teams are necessarily concerned about when they go out and build something new. So you kind of have to go there and make sure that these things are addressed, because otherwise you're exposing the company and the product to certain liabilities. So it's maybe a few kind of non-obvious things that as the AI footprint increases in a company, we need to take care of. So these are definitely something new responsibilities. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much. Agneta, you want to add something?
Yeah, I think that you touched at the beginning that one of our roles as leaders is also to get the people in the team future ready. So yeah, giving them the tools and everything, but also preparing them that one day even their job might become obsolete. Like, we don't know, we don't have a crystal ball. Our job might become obsolete. It might transform, but well, these jobs are always new, and they are all, like, this environment is very, very dynamic. So we need to prepare everyone to think about the future and be part of creating that future. We don't know how it's going to change exactly. We know that there are tools. We are incorporate them into day-to-day. And one of the things that I know I'm also trying to do myself, not always, but is when I'm starting a task to start from the AI perspective, and then we, after I finish it, then to start doing it as myself, to see how it performs. The idea is that we need to embrace. And right now, I don't know how the 12 years old is using AI. I have no idea. So, and I think that they are like way ahead of us, and they will be like the leaders of the future. So
right.
I don't know how it will be.
Thank you. You touch in a very important topic, right? Because like for us, especially as I said, for me as a people in the people function are like not the very tech savvy. It's like AI is going to take our jobs, maybe. But also 10 years ago we didn't have AI directors, did we? So something is shifting, maybe.
Can I add something on this?
Yes.
Just a little bit. I don't want to scare anyone, but I do think that there are a couple of jobs that they will be, change. Let's use that word, right? Change. But also, what AI does is that it gives everyone a very good opportunity to build things cheap. So I foresee that there's going to be, I don't know how with, I don't have Instagram, but how with Instagram people start generating videos, and with phones we all become photographers. Sure. Now I think that with AI everybody will be in 2 years build their own mini business. Much easier. So I think that's when something gets cheaper, people consume more, right? So that's the Microsoft rule. So I think that will change.
Interesting, thank you. Interesting perspective. So we're going to have to find different jobs, but jobs going to still be there. Let's be optimistic. Let's close it on an optimistic note. But Gianluca, I also want to hear your thoughts.
You're going to make me add after that. Come on, that's not fair.
I mean, let's go now. It's like, now we're talking about how AI is like changing the leadership role, but I mean, we are ready to have the tough conversations here, and Yanis already kicked it off.
Yeah, he was
ready.
Amazing. No, just to add a point, I think everything was said already, but basically, as everything, as Johnny said, can be built more cheap, there's more demand for managers to deliver what we are set to do, right? So there's more demand for us and the enhancement, and people will have more tools to do automate processes and do the things that are day to day. So basically, for us as managers and leaders, more demand into how we deliver and more attention to the teams that are already having everything automated or a lot of things automated. So we need to take care a lot with a human-centric approach.
Thank you. The human-centric approach. So we need us
Still
humans for
humans.
something,
We're
right?
still human.
We're still needed. Culture is needed. And thank you so much, all. I see a lot of questions are coming into the Slido, so we're going to address them, and I'm going to open it now to the Q&A with the audience. So please, if you have a question, just feel free. For the folks here, we can also ask a question directly, so you can interact directly with our amazing guest speakers here today. So feel free to raise your hand, and I will check. And then in the meantime, let's go to Slido. And for the folks at home, please do Slido. We still see you and hear you. Diego is asking, when the team faces excessive pressure from stakeholders, how do you choose between pleasing the stakeholder or defending team members to prevent demotivation? Anybody wanna tackle that one? It's an open question.
I can answer this. So, because in tech we are working very closely with product, with the commercial peers, and there was always some kind of battle. And I think that conflict, and in different ways. So I'm not saying that people are literally fighting, but there is some kind of conflict for priorities, for something else. It's always healthy, because it means that people have, they have enough trust to discuss those kind of things. And at the end, the question is, why are we doing this? And if we figure out why we are doing this, then the answer will be simple. So if we are doing this because we need to protect some team member, then yeah, that will be the way. But probably like we are here because we want to make some customers happy, so then we need to all come to that conclusion together. But basically that's the first question that we are answering. Okay, you need that, why? After we figured it out, then it's easy.
Okay, thank you.
I will add to that it's perfect. Is the first step is like understand your capacity and share the capacity through data and then storytelling, right? So for example, in recruitment or in talent, the stakeholders want all the candidates for yesterday. And of course, if we want to over-deliver or do something, we may burn out our teams. So it's very important to understand what's your capacity as a talent acquisition partner and what's the capacity of your team and what's realistic and not. So I will convey that with data to add that.
Data. Love it. Thank you so much. Okay, Diego, I hope we answered it. We're going to move to the next one, which I guess goes to Yanis, because it's about process, if you can share. How do you influence many different companies, industries, or teams so that they share a common culture and vision, specifically in the tech side?
So process is an operator. For example, we own companies like Stack Overflow, PayU in India, iFood in Brazil, OLX, and we are also investment, right? We invest in partial ownership of the company. So there are a couple of ways that you can change things. So the first way is that it really helps if you bring people together from different kind of companies. We do different kind of events. We do the AI Marketplace, which is an AI conference once every year. And this is an opportunity for us to actually bring 800 data scientists and data engineers and some engineers that they want to attend, and product folks. And this is an opportunity to show to them how do we think about the future, but not only us, because that's something that maybe we believe, but then at the same time, we also invite folks from all over the place. We invite folks from OpenAI to talk about how agents will change their work, or Hugging Face to talk about open source versus closed source, right? So then whatever we are trying to do, we also try to, it's not our own personal opinion, but we are just trying to be, in essence, based it on others' opinion also, that they can have maybe even inside information that we don't have. So that's the first thing. Second, in terms of the team and the culture, we have tried many different ways, and truth be told, there are different companies operating in different markets, so they also have different type of culture. So what we are trying to do is that we are trying to find out the best possible, idea scenario, which is we keep what works from every culture and what works for this culture, and also we try to bring the good things from all the other companies. And the way that we are doing this is, and this needs to start with HR is very important. The way that you are hiring people is very important. The way that you are communicating to people is very important. Senior leadership is very important. So that means that goes into the senior leaders, and they create a strategy of how this would look the future, how we want the future to look ahead. Other ways that we are joining existing teams in different companies. So now I'm working in a project with OLX, for example. So I'm just going to bring some folks from my team, and then we create this kind of cross-functional joint teams. And we are trying to make things a little bit more fluid, because in that way we share more. So these are the main ways. We don't have a specific... the vision that we have is, I guess, being repeated again and again by our CEO. So yeah, and that goes top down. Yeah, I think that's it.
I think it was great. I think it answered to the question.
Okay, right? Yeah.
I hope, Anonymous, we answered your question. Okay, next one. How do you and your team differentiate between hype and real potential in general, but also in the AI ecosystem in particular? Giuseppe, I think you got this.
Yeah.
I can see it.
So if I knew the answer to this, I would probably be on one of these yachts that we have behind us.
Which one?
Yeah. Because I don't think there's a simple way to do this, or any way at all. Because very smart people in venture capital do this on a daily basis, and it is just not easy. Especially if you want to position yourself on the, if you want to have like very high returns on your investment, you want to do like super early stage kind of type of operations, and it is very hard at that point to understand, to kind of tell apart hype from real potential, right? So yeah, it is hard. One, and second, maybe the trivial answer to this would be that if you're not the first mover and you wait a bit, then you can more easily tell apart, right? But if you want to be like super early, then it becomes very tough.
Great.
Can I also add?
Yes, please.
Because I agree 100%, but I have two more extra points, because from Prosus perspective, one of our jobs is to identify opportunities to invest in terms of technology, but also to try new tools. And it's very hard, because everybody expects that every new tool that is out there we have tried and we have an opinion, which is almost impossible. How do I, in the end I have distilled it in two extra points. The first one is, by doing this, you are building something that looks like an intuition, right? I don't know if it's exactly intuition, but it feels like that I can see a future for this, or this is, I'm not so sure why that exists. And the second is, you go back to the core of what problem does it solve, right? I think sometimes we forget, because there's so much hype, that we forget to ask the question, okay, but what problem does it solve? Is it a real pain point today of the people that they're gonna use it? Or is just another solution for no problem? So that's for me the two ways that I think about that.
Good one. Thank you so much, both of you. Anonymous, we hope answered your question. We still don't have the yacht there, but one day. Okay, Gianluca, do you want to start with this, and then I'm going to ask the other. After years in your role, what continues to excite you about being a leader? How do you personally stay motivated?
In my case, I will say the desire to continue learning, because I am under 10 years of being a leader. I'm learning right now from everyone here, and I will learn from all the conversations that I will have. So be humble, learn, and that's my main motivation. Keep learning.
Love it, thank you. Anyone else want to add? What keeps you stay motivated? We are conscious of time, but we can add a few.
Learning, for sure, also. But it's sometimes I'm getting bored if I don't be motivated. So it's a little bit to what you said before, right? So I tend to get bored fast. So I always try something to do, and that comes in waves, right? So there's always the wave that yeah, I'm not too motivated, but then somehow I see something and then I'm motivated again, right? So it's me, it's actually me looking, maybe that's the thing, it's me actively looking to be motivated, right? I think there are lots of motivations out there, we just don't pay attention to them. That's what I mean.
True.
Might sound a little bit more...
There's so much noise. You have to look through the noise and find the right one, right?
Yeah, I think
Daniela?
that from time to time we need to have some time to reflect. And it's hard to find the time, but sometimes it's just, I know, just sitting with your feet on your table and just looking to the window and just figure it out, like, why are you there? Like, is it something that you like, that it makes sense for you? If that's a yes, then you can continue. If not, then it's a moment to change. And I had different moments in my life when I asked myself this question. And sometimes I was asking, okay, but am I bored about this project? Am I upset because of this? Like, why is it, what comes behind this lack of motivation? As soon as I was able to identify what it was, then I was finding it again. So I think that the part of reflection, it's very, very important for us, because especially nowadays that we, as you were saying before, like, we don't stop. So we need to find time actually to stop and to think.
Lovely. Okay, thank you. Next question. Good one. How do you measure and celebrate your own success after achieving so much in your career? Anybody want to tackle this one?
I'm not good at this. I need to get better. That's on my work in progress. Tell me.
I'm also not good at it.
You're being so humble.
No,
You don't.
So I was.
No, I'm not good at this.
I was once talking to somebody, and I don't know, I got like a promotion, and he was like, "Okay, did you go out to celebrate?" Like, no, I have things to do.
So you don't stop and measure. Oh, this is another great step, and you have to celebrate yourself. Oh my gosh, we have to switch roles. I can come in that. I celebrate everything.
No, but the thing is that it's not only at work. Like, this happens like also in my personal life. So I don't know. I was talking to my personal trainer, and I was able to do like an exercise I couldn't do before, and I was happy for the moment. And then I was like, and there's like, yeah, you did it great. Like, you reached a milestone. Let's celebrate. It's like, no, never mind. It's like,
I guess.
so I know I don't have it in me.
But do you at least like reflect about it? Do you look back and say how much I have achieved? That is also like a great way to recognize it.
I guess we are just stuck. So, to the personal coaching thing, right? So you do a clean and then a snuts, and then you say, okay, what's next? Right? So that's how I tend to think. So I finish something and then I'm thinking, okay, what's next? So I'm very much forward, future, present thinking. And I recognize, I think this is very important, right? Because that's how you build resilience, and that's how you help everyone to celebrate the big moments. I'm just not good at it yet. Yet.
Work in progress.
Work in progress.
Gianluca, Giuseppe, are any of you good at this?
I will add maybe, again, through meditation and self-awareness, I was able to realize that many times I'm very similar to Ioannis, or I was very similar to Ioannis, that I want next. But after I realized that it was my ego, and I was feeding my ego of wanting next for just feeling a void that I had inside through my childhood. So it's, again, a lot of self-reflection and giving you the moments, being grateful, consciously grateful, not just writing 3 things that you're grateful for every day in a notepad, but actually thinking about what you can actually be grateful for today.
Thank you. That's it. Gratitude. That's a good one. Okay, Anonymous. I hope we answered your question. It looks like a bit work in progress, but there are ways to do it. How do you keep the balance between work and personal life? How to ask it to the people you lead? Oh, am I understanding this correctly? Like, it's first a question, how do you keep it, and how to ask it, and how to also translate it to your team and the people you lead for them to have the balance in work and personal life. Anyway, like we are running out of time, so I need one of you to volunteer to answer this question.
I can.
I can see,
No,
I can see
because
Aniela's eyes going.
No,
like,
but I was laughing because I don't know. Probably all of you saw the Severance, the series with the chip that when you're at work you have a life, when you're outside of work you have a completely different life. And in theory, like the first, like it looks good, but then actually like it's not. And the thing is that we are the same person. So it's not that we are getting into the office or we are opening the computer and then we we are a different person. So that means that we need to be ourselves like very, very well, but then we also need to find like the non-negotiable. So the same way that I know we are cleaning we are brushing our teeth, we need to train, or we need to eat right, or, or sleep, or whatever, like whatever, or spend time with family, like things that are non-negotiable, they need to be always there. And if we are doing this and we have these kind of boundaries, people also around us will see what we are doing, and then they will follow. Because if we are, if they're seeing that we don't have any kind of care for ourselves, they will think that this is the norm and this is the way to be successful. It's this is not healthy. So we are examples. We need to put ourselves first, so then also the others will do the same for them.
Put your own mask first, right? That's what.
yes, the oxygen mask in the plane. Lovely, thank you. That is brilliant. Next one. How do you exert leadership and influence beyond your downward management, especially with difficult bosses, peers, or employees who don't report to you? We touched a little bit upon this. As like, how do you influence teams like beyond your own direct team? So, difficult bosses, peers, or employees. Some of you might have had them, or all of you. Anybody wants to share?
Yeah, I mean, we touched upon this briefly before, right? We can't expect to go to someone and tell them, hey, I need this from you. Please do it in a very transactional way. And more so if they're not part of our organization. It's never right, but no more so if they're outside of our organization, right? So we shared a few techniques before, like talking about alignment, values, and all of that. Yeah, is very important, right? Difficult bosses, peers, or employees, difficult people in general. I think you can. I'm not sure if this is about.
What is
influence.
difficult?
Yeah.
I've been called difficult once or twice.
This is a very broad question, like how to deal with difficult people. Yeah, maybe this is you could write a book about this, right?
Gianluca, did you write a book about this? We need you.
Asking the right questions, actually. What do you need? How I can help, and trying to unblock through that, because every difficult person has something inside that it's happening, maybe. So I will go into that.
Lovely. Yes, that is great. I think that is it. And Sam is building on what Giuseppe said before. Giuseppe said a good leader should stay technical. So the follow-up question is, how can you achieve that when your work days are increasingly spent in Zoom meetings instead of coding?
What do you think Sundays are for, right?
Oh no, we don't want to promote
no,
that
we don't
here.
do that. No.
We are very work-life, but we want to promote well-being. So that's what Sundays are for. It was a joke, folks.
Yeah. But I think first of all, like staying technical doesn't mean that you need to be coding every day, right? But you need to be able to understand that, and you need to carve out the time to think and study, and do certain things. Again, doesn't mean you need to be coding on a daily basis, but
Yes.
maybe the occasional test and the occasional POC, like why not, right? And to the point of spending days in Zoom meetings, and I am actually very much against that, and I think busy is not necessarily smart. I don't think that's right. I think people should not spend their lives on Zoom, and it's actually something that I was recently discussing with my team. That we need to really make sure that we, especially for the more senior you get, you need to be able to think about the hard problems, and that requires you to focus and have focus time, and not having a fully 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. full of meetings agenda, right? So, yeah.
Can I also add
Yes, please.
one thing? I think it's a great idea to book, no calendar day or have focus time. I do have it every Thursday. But also a way that you can stay technical is you have one-to-ones with your direct people or with some more junior folks, and sometimes it's okay if you go and ask them a question about the code, and then they can show you something so you can learn and ask questions, right? So I think staying technical is also means stay curious about the code base, right? So that you can go and ask questions, try to understand. And that's sometimes enough. You don't have to do that every day. You don't have to micromanage, but it's good for you to say, okay, I don't know how this how it works. Can you please show to me because I want to understand it? And then out of your 45 minutes one-to-one, you can spend 10 minutes where, the other person also has his time to showcase his work and, teach you something, because then he can also hear something from you. So for me, that works very well. So I'm learning a lot when I'm asking this type of questions.
Great. Anyone else? We have the last question, folks. Oh no, we have 2 questions. We're gonna stay a bit longer because we want to really address all of them. In the current paradigm, can you recommend a book or a good author to read? A quick one, top of your head. The geek way.
I've been recommending a book on applied AI to a lot of people. I think it's called Applied AI. Yes, it's an O'Reilly book. And especially like this, time and age, it is very important to understand what AI is, at least a very high level, and what it isn't, where it can be used, where it cannot be used. And so this is something that pretty much every leader, no matter the function, should be able to know and should know. Yeah.
Great.
Agree. Maybe culture map is also nice, since we are operating in so many different, the world is interconnected. But I agree with, if it was one, I would start with read a book about AI, because it is for sure the future, and then the second one just go with something more culture map or.
Culture. See, we're
Good,
important.
vamos.
We're still not being replaced. Gianluca,
Good. I
talking
will
about
add,
culture.
There's a book called Legacy from the ex-coach of the All Blacks that talks about how sports leadership can be applied into leadership. I think the last name is Kerr, but if you find it, it's called Legacy. And another one I'm very fond of into new technologies, not AI, of course, is a big one, but I also like blockchain. And there's one book that explains blockchain really easy called Read, Write, Own by Chris Dixon, and it's pretty cool as well.
Great. Aniela, your go-to?
I'm not
Right
going to say any AI book because I think that we already have that. But I was thinking about a book that from time to time I pick it up, and not only myself but also people in my team. It's Crucial Conversation, because it has some recipes on how to approach very critical conversations that you have with different people. And that's a book that it's good to have it into your toolkit and use it from time to time. It's
Great.
always going to be meaningful.
I love it. Thank you so much. So last question from the audience, because we need to wrap it up soon. I'm sorry, folks. We're running out of time. How do you lead people who have much more technical expertise than you? Has it happened?
All the people that we lead, they should have more technical expertise than us, right? That's why they are, we listen to them. Now, how do we lead? I think these days you don't lead with, you're not going to go and write your code yourself anyway. So you lead by asking questions, you lead by challenging the way of thinking, you lead by challenging their assumptions, you lead by challenging their perspective to the problem, you lead by connecting them with the right person, you lead by going one step back and asking some tough questions. And sometimes you lead by, asking them, okay, but can this be done different? And maybe you can try this, right? But doesn't mean that, technical expertise in terms of now how fast I can type Golang, probably I'm very slow at this. I would need time. But that's not also what the directs expect from me. right? So I think that also helps.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, especially the part about asking the questions and knowing which questions need to be asked. I think that's a very crucial skill. And I mean, we hire people that are, by definition, that they know more than us, and otherwise there's definitely something wrong in the hiring process, right? So this is very much expected and by design. But our job is not to lead them in terms of technical solutions, but more about setting the strategy, the vision, asking the right questions, and working on the alignment, right? That's what we do.
Okay, thank you. Daniela? Gianluca, you want to?
You all said the right things. What I saw, for example, that I know like very, very smart engineers, they struggle with is they don't always have like the full context. So when they come out with a solution, I always have to explain like what is the context and when are we going, what is the strategy long term, and then they go back and they reflect and they adapt that solution. But basically, if I will have to tell them what to do, I think that it will be like very, very wrong, because they will build only bad things. So I'm not that good in many areas. We are always hiring people that are more smarter than us.
That's amazing. Gianluca, you
Just
you wrap it up?
help them to grow, like have competencies and help them to grow,
Yeah.
understanding, even though they're very technical, of course,
Yes.
but helping them reach point A to B and be there for them.
Lovely. Thank you so much. That was, oh my gosh, you've been great guest speakers. We can talk for another hour, right? And but we need to wrap it up because we are at the end of this. But I want to ask one last thing to leave us. You shared very generously and openly, and I thank you so much for that. But the last question I would have, if you were to give just one tip, one final takeaway, and it would be like an actionable tip for leaders to apply immediately as soon as they leave this room. Everyone that is listening in is like one actionable tip that they can apply now to be a great leader. Yanis,
Communicate, that's it. So if you can just pay attention to how do you communicate both ways, how well do you listen and how well do you engage, I think that's the most important thing for me. And that's something that you can learn just by paying attention.
Daniela?
Ask why, and do that with your peers, with your team, to your boss, and you will get like very insightful answers.
Love it. Giuseppe?
Give more feedback. More feedback, and if you think you're already giving feedback, give more feedback, and ask for feedback.
Great one. Gianluca?
I will say meditation and do something difficult every day, a cold shower or something, because that puts your brain into being ready for those difficult
Anything.
feedback conversations and all the other ones.
Oh my. It's been incredible. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing everything. Thank you to everyone
Thank
for
you.
joining. From everyone
Thank
from
you.
home, thank you so much for joining online, and hope we see you in person next time. And to everyone here, we want to invite you to stay a little bit longer, connect, network. We're going to have some food being served and some drinks. Thank you so much for joining us, and hope to see you soon at our next events. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.